Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jonathan. I'm in a journey to learning C. If you've seen my past videos, I've been reading A Modern Approach to C by Code&Camp. Right? I used to be a web developer or a freelance web developer. I never did it like professionally, but I got bored. It did not pay well. And I don't know, I'm just in a different journey now. I'm in a different mindset right now. I want to try something new. I've always been scared to try C for some reason. I don't know why. I would hear people talk about how it's very low level and it could be dangerous for your hardware. I don't know. So to validate my reason why I'm learning C, or to reinforce myself or cheer myself up to why I'm learning C, I like reading posts and comments about the C programming language. And right now I found this Reddit post on the subreddit C programming, and I think it's a good share. I just want to share it with you guys. Hopefully I don't bore you with my voice, but here we go. Let's begin. C is not limited to low level. Okay, C is not limited to low level. And then they have this little quote right here. Programmers are allowed to shoot themselves in the foot or other body parts if they choose to, and C will make no effort to stop them. Alright, that's pretty scary right off the top. Okay. C is a high-level programming language that can be used to create pretty solid applications, unleashing human creativity. I've been enjoying C a lot in 2025. All right, let me say something. I've been doing C for a while. Well, maybe like a year now. I've been on and off, like a drug addict, when they're trying to get off a drug and they go on and off. Yeah, that's me with C. But now I've stepped up, I locked in, and I'm gonna finish reading A Modern Approach to C. Okay, I'm not scared anymore. I gotta do this. Okay, I've been enjoying C a lot in 2025, but nowadays people often try to make C irrelevant. This prevents new programmers from actually trying it and creates a false barrier of complicity. That's true. I think everyone should at least try it once just to get better at whatever they're doing. Now, what are the interesting projects you've created in C that are not explicitly low-level stuff? Okay. So now, what are some interesting projects you've created in C that are not explicitly low-level stuff? All right, let's look at the comments. This is pretty interesting, right? Well, for me at least. I hope I'm not boring my audience. This user said, C is a wonderful language. I wrote a basic 3D game using GLAD, GLFW, doing everything manually. Very basic. Took me ages to figure it out, but I did it. Yeah, that's what it is, right? When you do something that takes you effort and time to accomplish it, you feel proud of it, dude. It's not like when ChatGPT gives you the answer and you feel like crap, It's like the post-nut, what do you call it? Clarity, post-nut clarity. When you use ChatGPT and it gives you code, it gives you post-nut clarity. It does. In my third year of C, and I admit I'm addicted to C and have to touch it every day. Oh, you have to touch C every day. All right. I am working on a game I'll likely never finish in C. I've also made web backends, desktop applications, and an iPhone game in C. Wow, that's interesting. How do you make an iPhone game in C? I've also made web backends, desktop applications, and an iPhone game in C. Wow, that's interesting. Let's see how would someone do that? How would someone, right? All right, here. Let me fix this. How would I write a game. What was it? It was an iPhone game in C. How would I go about how would I go about writing a game in C for the iPhone? Alright, let's see what ChatGPT says. Writing a game in C for the iPhone is possible, but it's not the typical route. Since iOS development is primarily done in Objective-C, Swift, or via C++ in game engines like Unreal or Coco's 2D-X. However, if you're serious about using pure C, here's how you can do it, step by step. Writing game in C, okay, understand the iOS build ecosystem. Alright. Pretty interesting stuff, but let's keep reading these comments. I don't want to bore you. I don't want to bore my audience, right? I don't know, slop, if this is slop content. Because I really don't edit. I hate editing. I'm not a good editor, but I'm also not a very good communicator. So, there you go. So this user, I don't consider any of my C code low level. They don't deal with hardware directly. Something I might get back to an update is okay. They gave a link. This is also constraint generation library for local LLM. You can write programmatic rules that restrict which tokens are generated depending on the context. There are primitives like suffix, prefix, and there's one of which acts like a combinator, aka actual engineering and not prompt engineering. Also, the standard literally talks about an abstract machine. There are extensions just to deal with how the abstract machine does not map the actual hardware. Okay, I don't know what any of that means. Honestly, I'm not gonna pretend that I know what it means. But what is this? Update for new llama. Alright, they have a build. Can someone in the comments tell me what this Redditor means? What he built? Right? Explain it to me like I'm a kindergartner. I create Windows GUI programs using C and the API, but there are those who think that C++ is more appropriate for this kind of programming. I can't understand why. Because C has basic data structures like dynamic arrays, sets, and maps, which are ubiquitous in modern programming. You can search, sort, and filter these data structures with generic algorithms. Even C++ is a pain to work with, as things like splitting a string with the string delimiter is non-trivial. Yes, you can write all this stuff yourself, but understanding why some people think you should not be incomprehensible. Generally, programmers are pragmatic, and they will say use the right tool for the job. Okay. Now this top 1% commenter. How do you become a top 1% commenter? I have no idea, dude. I'm on Reddit, but I rarely comment or post. I just read the people's. You gotta be really knowledgeable to comment. Maybe. All of the C code I've ever written was application level. I've never written anything that could reasonably be called low level. One of the first C programs I wrote as a professional ingested output from an underwater acoustic propagation model into a sonar simulator. Okay, let's read that. One of the first C programs I wrote as a professional ingested output from an underwater acoustic propagation model into a sonar simulator. I've written enterprise software to manage printer queues across an organization to take inventory of nodes on a network, etc. What makes C problematic is that it puts all the burden of safety and security on the programmer. The C philosophy has always been that the programmer is in the best position to know if a runtime check for buffer or numeric overflow or pointer validity is necessary, and is smart enough to write one if it is. The model has proved to be optimistic over the decades. Okay, so the programmer has to be like really smart, or has to know how to handle all these use cases, I guess. All right, so this kind of stuff is the stuff like I'm kind of scared of, but I'm just learning to learn. I'm just to have more knowledge, and hopefully I move like to C++. And my end goal right here is to write a game, right? But I'm tired of like rushing through everything, through tutorials and then going through tutorial how. I just want to learn the fundamentals, the basics. I want to learn some math and then build from right there and build a game. I'm an artistic person, and like drawing and all that stuff does not scare me. I haven't practiced for a while, but I know when I start doing it again, I'm gonna get kind of what's it called? I'm gonna get the hang of it again. and and I also do music, so it doesn't scare me either. I just want to learn programming fundamentals and learn a little bit of math. So that's why I'm doing this. The language gives you almost no tools, and in fact works against you when it comes to safety. It's not an accident that the worst malware successfully targets C-based systems. Now this user. C is high level by definition. Without an operating system or board support package, you can't run C code directly, and that's not even including all that tooling and their own nuances. Yes, people forget that C code runs in the C abstract machine. What does that mean? What is the C abstract machine? Plus, for one, mention the C abstract machine. Been a while since I last heard that term myself. Alright, what's a C abstract machine? Let's find out what's a C abstract machine. Alright, ChatGPT, do your magic, boy. Is a what's a C abstract machine? The C abstract machine is a theoretical model defined by the C standard that describes how C programs are supposed to behave, independent of any specific hardware or operating system. It's a way to formalize the rules of the language and ensure consistent behavior across different compilers and platforms. The C abstract machine is... Bro, okay, I wasn't showing you guys over here. The C abstract machine is like an imaginary computer that defines what it means to run a C program, so that compilers know how to translate C code properly, and programmers know what to expect from their code. Okay. So real machine versus abstract machine. The real machine is your actual hardware, CPU, memory, OS. The abstract machine is what the compiler assumes when translating your C code into real machine instructions. A good C programmer understands both. You write code for the abstract machine, but you also know how it maps to real memory, CPU, registers, and assembly instructions. All right. That was a good read. Anyways, should we keep reading? I don't know. Is this entertaining? Okay, so they continue their what's it called, their discussion. Okay, so this user up here, by what definition, maybe on a relative scale, and even then I have trouble imagining what you could be comparing to, except assembly code. On an absolute scale, there are plenty of languages with a whole lot of more abstraction power and hand holding. Where are you going to place those? This is a computer science definition. If you write code for an abstract machine, then the language is called high level. By extension, anything that is portable, anything that runs on an interpreter or that needs compilation is also high level. Low level is actually assembler, which is a nice synthetic sugar on top of actual machine code. There's no translation needed for assembly to machine code, since everything matches one-to-one. Assembly is just a collection of mnemonics and macros to machine code. Okay. So this is getting way out of hand, right? These guys seem like geniuses to me, so I'm gonna stop reading their what's it called? I'm gonna stop reading their comments. All right. C is objectively less complex than most all modern programming languages. Just look at the number of keywords. Modern languages use complexity to ensure safety. That's a trade-off. Okay. So I guess let's read this one. I get into these certain conversations with people about C. I'm a C dev, where they tell me all these things about why C is bad because they have to implement this thing every time and so much boilerplate, blah 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 blah. I'm over here with years of built of C code snippets and libraries that I have made because why would anyone torture themselves like that? I don't use C because I want to write the same shit over and over. Ever heard of a fucking function? Yes, I had to learn to manage complexity in ways many languages abstract away from you. But the trade-off is that I am the one in control of how the complexity is abstracted. The idea that you can't do a large project in C because of complexity is nonsense. People should definitely try C, especially considering the vast ecosystem and opportunities it presents. But it just isn't a substitute for a higher level stuff. You can use it there, but you will run into issues related to lack of abstraction, power, and safety for little benefit. Okay. So yeah, my goal is to learn C++, but I guess even C++ is still a little bit low. And after that, like in a real language, bro, no more JavaScript, right? And maybe Python. But after that, I'm thinking about like sticking to C++ or Java. But then a lot of people are saying that Java's dead. Or C sharp. I don't know. We'll see. But first, learn fundamentals. First, I'm learning from scratch, from the bottom up. I don't want to learn from the top to the bottom anymore. Okay. This comment reads, I wrote a few full-blown immediate GUI apps in C. With right tools, it isn't even that hard, and you don't need a browser to render basic UI. Also, it works even on a smart toaster, weighs little, works really fast and responsive, all other cool stuff that comes with C. I really like C's simplicity, but at the same time, I absolutely despise it. Like, I want methods for structs, generics, adequate type system. Int is somehow at least 16 bits. What were they thinking? Namespaces, deferring multiple return values, maybe errors as values, but none of the complexity of Rust, Go, and Zig. Hot take. C is a bad language, not as bad as others. Its standard lib is trash. The use of zero terminated strings, its type system, both on the level of syntax and the language itself. The famous macro system, which somehow, some why works not on the level of the lexer, but with the text. The whole convoluted heap of JNU and MSVC specific code compatible with each other written in a language that is fully standardized, and don't even get me started on the header inclusion hell. But after 36 years of anti-C, nothing better has come out, which is really sad. Really looking forward to C3's release though. Looks really promising. Alright. So I came here wanting to read to read something to inspire me to learn C, but now that I'm reading all this stuff, I'm telling you, it's kind of scary, right? But I'm not gonna give up. I want to shed a tear right now. Reading all this stuff seems really complicated. well, welcome to my journey. If this is your first time watching and you haven't clicked away, right? Thank you for watching and welcome to the journey. If you like this kind of stuff, I enjoy this kind of stuff. Okay, so I guess there's nothing more to read. I think that was it. Let me see. I should have proofread all of these first and chosen the best ones. But let me just read this one. I like to think, without real strong support, that just when tooling for C got really good, Lanterns, Valgrind, and similar tools, better C standards in the 1990s, Java came along and upended everything. It's been a horror show of trying to make Java work in so many places it wasn't designed to be good for. It was first developed for TV setup boxes actually, and didn't fit well there. For example, it was supposed to be the big language to run in the browser and didn't even work there. Thank goodness JS showed how much better a simpler language was there. Okay, so this person actually give a little cheers to JavaScript. The real right ones run anywhere language is C, although people are fooled into thinking Java fits chat build because you don't have to recompile. Still, 30 years later, everything except Java that people use every day is built on C and C++. Linux, Windows, other Unix are all on C. The biggest non-C platform would be Android, and even then there's a Linux kernel written in C. My conspiracy... Okay, so we're getting into the conspiracy theories now. My conspiracy theory is that it's just churned into the IT business. C tooling got really good, and software businesses found they couldn't make money using C. They needed something totally new and different to foist on the industry, thus the Java craze. So I shouldn't learn Java? Just stick to C++. I don't know, dude. It's all confusing, but my end goal is to make a game, and a lot of games are written in C++, so I'm sticking with that. I never really understood the right ones run everywhere of Java. If you have to have a JVM for every platform you intend to run Java, isn't this the same as having a compiler for C for every platform to wish to run a C program? That's a good argument. That's a good point. I actually think the C relevance is greatly reduced unless I'm doing to embedded programming where resource constraints are draconian. I would not touch it with the 10-foot pole. The lack of RI makes all resource management a nightmare, so any large scale up would probably be leaking resources like mad. I would rather use C++, so you have more tools in your arsenal. That UI bits use low and safe or object oriented, while perf critical parts use data orientated design that looks almost like pure C. Pointers, reinterpret casts, etc. I've done some low-level stuff, but right now I'm just working on a chill terminal game. Oh, a terminal game. That's cool. Why didn't he put a link? He should put it on GitHub. Or she put it on GitHub. Alright, guys. So that was it for this video. I just want to reinforce my points, or I just want to... I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I just want to read C-related stuff. So I keep learning C and I'll give up, trying to keep myself motivated. So anyways, thank you for watching this video. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and give me a like. Comment anything you want, right? Like that one dude that told me that I look like a web dev and should stick to my scripting language and leave the C programming language to the geniuses, right? Just comment anything and give me a like. And it really helps. It really helps out. I have plans for this channel, not only about learning C, but I have other plans, right? So, thank you.